Welcome back to Ferris Sports Update. Talking now with men's basketball head coach Bill Sall. And Coach, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Rob.
I know it was an enjoyable holiday week for your team, and always nice to win a couple games, a couple big wins at home this past week over Olivet and Wisconsin Parkside.
It certainly was. It was great to see us starting to make some strides as far as where we need to go as a basketball team. The Olivet game, I thought we really upped the level of intensity and really did a nice job of sharing the ball, and then came back and beat a really good Parkside team in a hard-fought game.
Going back to Tuesday's game to start with, a 82-46 Bulldog win, your home opener at Wink Arena. Talk about the opportunity to play at home for the first time this season.
Well, it feels good to be at home after some tough road games, and I think that always helps your players to really focus in on what they have to do. You know, with any team, you don't want to lose at home, and our guys really came out, I think, from the get-go with just tremendous energy, really picked up on the defensive end, and then our defense really became our offense. And I just saw some really good performances from a number of individuals.
You mentioned the defensive side held Olivet to 5 field goals in the first half. Talk about some of the keys to that defensive performance against Olivet.
Well, good defense always has to start with amazing energy on the basketball. And from Dante Molden to Kenny Brown, really all of our guards did a nice job of really staying up on the basketball. And then our interior guys had a great job of just team defensive concepts. So we like to contest every shot, and I say after kind of statting out that game, we contested virtually every shot they took.
I know coming back on Saturday after the Thanksgiving break, had a chance to practice a couple times before you played Wisconsin Parkside, and a big victory over a team that was unbeaten coming into the matchup.
Yeah, and I think the good thing is that even after that Thanksgiving break, you know, with practice I think at 9 o'clock on Thanksgiving night. And usually I expect guys with a bunch of turkey in their tummies and not really too interested in playing basketball. But man, they came in and had a great practice. Came back on Friday with some really good focus, and that carried over into the game against Parkside.
How important is a regional win like that against a Wisconsin Parkside team that was coming off a 1-point win at Michigan Tech, the North Division favorite in the GLIAC?
Well, I think in this season what we're trying to do is garner our ability to keep on playing better and keep on playing better all the way through. As much as it's a regional opponent, the biggest thing is having a big win. We needed a big win. That gets some confidence, so going into the beginning of this GLIAC season, we're ready to play. And having a game where we played very well, had a number of guys really step up and do some great things, I think really helps us a lot as far as now looking ahead to this week.
Seems like you were able to establish some consistency on offense this past week. Kenny Brown leading the way, 24 points against Olivet, 18 on Saturday against Wisconsin Parkside, averaged 21 points a game. Talk about his performance on the offensive end. Well,
we need Kenny to go, and I think that's the one thing that has really helped us. He's making better cuts. He's using screens way better. We're getting him some good shots, and he's able to make those shots. And you know, for us to have success, we really want to see that out of him. And again, I thought he made a really good stride as far as being patient, waiting for the good opportunities, and then taking advantage of those opportunities.
He wasn't the only one in double figures, of course, as Daniel Sutherland, Jarrell Sanders both had a couple double-figure scoring games. Dante Molden, senior at the point guard spot, had a nice weekend as well.
They really did, and you know, it's great to see Dan on that Parkside game come up with 15 rebounds. We've been asking him really since he's been here to really go out there and be aggressive on the glass, and I thought he did a great job. Jarrell Sanders, I think, really did a really nice job of selecting good shots to take, and also really just being a facilitator of the basketball, which is really what we're looking for out of him. And Dante played, again, what we want to see. Quarterback the team, take good shots, and be able to really make the offense flow. You know, the nice thing is our freshmen are really starting to step up into those roles. Dan Chilcote, Dietrich Lever, and Andrew Lehman all played really well these last 2 nights.
You also got some nice contributions off the bench. You mentioned Drew Lehman and Dietrich Lever. Also, Brandon Mungo off the bench played some nice basketball in spurts for you.
He did. You know, in that Parkside game, we went to a press. Mungo came in and was a spark plug. Was able to get his hand on a couple of balls. Actually created 3 turnovers out of the stuff that he was doing, and really took what was at that point a 4-point lead by Parkside and turned that into a 10-point lead by us. So it was a great run. And Brandon was instrumental in a lot of that.
I know Wisconsin Parkside, a team that you faced a year ago on the road in Wisconsin, and a team that had a number of returning starters back, a number of key players back. Talk about some of the adjustments maybe you took from last year's game into this year's game and how that helped your team.
Well, I think a few things. They have a nice group back of a lot of guys that played on a team that was pretty good. You know, they had, like you said, they had a lot of confidence. They had just beaten 3 GLIAC opponents in Northwood, Saginaw Valley, and then winning at Tech, which is very tough to do. I think for us, just kind of seeing the process of what we had to do against them, they had struggled against our zone last year as well. And so we kind of kept it in our back pocket, and I think we put it in just about the right time. At about the 10-minute mark, we went to zone, and then we put a little press, which I don't think they were quite ready for. And I think those two things really led us to be able to make that final push.
Where you're at this point in the season, 5 games in, how do you feel about your team's performance and where you're at this stage?
Well, the good news is we're getting better. You know, if I look back, say for instance, to the Calvin game that we played down at Calvin, even to the Lewis game, we've made some great strides as far as being more of a team. I think that's the nice thing to see right now is that we're playing, having guys play for each other, going out there and really making sure that that every possession is important. Those things go a long ways to improving on the basketball floor. And I think we're going to see progression out of not only our guys that are coming back because they're in new roles, but then also our freshmen really continue to make those strides.
This week, you head on the road to start conference play, as you mentioned, at Tiffin on Thursday, at Ohio Dominican on Saturday. And what do you know about both of these teams coming into the week?
Well, they're much improved. Tiffin went out to Alaska Fairbanks. Same time, actually, our hockey team was out there, and ended up winning their tournament out there. They have a nice core of players back, but again, another year under the belt for them. Way more experience, a very athletic team. You know, and playing there is always a tough thing. It's a tough environment to play in, and so we really have to focus in on what we have to do. And then Ohio Dominican, you know, they ended up beating Southern Illinois, a Division I school, to start their year this year. And again, a team that really has a lot of returners, but a lot of guys that really have improved from last year. So 2 tough tests on the road.
This will be your first trip to Ohio Dominican after they joined the conference a year ago. You had them in Big Rapids last year. Going on the road to a new environment, a new place to play, how tough is that going to be for your team?
Well, I think that's the thing about being in the league. You have to really figure out, no matter where you are and what you're going to do, you have to be able to go out and win games on the road. So, you know, that takes some discipline. That takes your upperclassmen really stepping up and being leaders and understanding the importance of really coming out and playing with that type of energy that you have to do on the road. And then the discipline to stay with it for the whole game.
I know it's just the first weekend of conference play, but over your tenure, you've had a kind of a tendency to get off to a good start in league play. And how important is it to win these first couple of league games and get off to a good start?
Well, I think it's important. I think as you go, you have to really look at the body of work. You know, and again, we've always said we want to really be playing great basketball come January, February. But you can't put yourself in too big a hole. And that's why, man, you really have to come out in these first few games. And now, hey, let's see where we're at. What can we do against a team that you know, we're on the road against that's tough? They bring new challenges, and for us, it's really, can we step up to those challenges? And that's what I'm really interested to see this week.
I know after this weekend, you come back at home next Tuesday night to face Elma College, final non-conference home game before the holiday season, and should be nice to be back at home again after a tough weekend on the road. Absolutely, and you know, we're looking forward to, again, playing a game there, and then, you know, we have that a game at Northwood, and then wrap up this little preseason area after exams with 2 home games, Tech and Northern. So we've got our work cut out for us, but again, I'm excited about the potential of this team for sure. Well, Coach, best of luck as you open conference play this week. Hey, thanks, Rob. We'll be back with more Ferris Sports Update right after this.